But, from the sound of her son's voice, everything seemed normal, with no sense of anything untoward. However, she was puzzled to hear the cries of babies coming through the phone. Had her son done something unforgivable to a girl, waiting in the hospital to take care of it? At this thought, Mother Ye's heart started to torment her even more. This traffic jam is at such an inconvenient time. Still, when she left home, she brought all the money, and even packed the bank cards. She really hoped that her son hadn't stirred up some big trouble. If it's late, then it's late, just be safe. We'll talk about it when you get here, it's not clear over the phone, Yifan said. Alright, then. Hanging up now, Mother Yi said before she hung up the phone, feeling as if some big issue was waiting for her, something that left her a bit panicked. Yifan returned to the ward and found Bai Susu's hesitation slightly amusing. My mom said there's a traffic jam, and that she will arrive later, Yifan said to Bai Susu as he tucked her in and started speaking softly. He could unmistakably see Bai Susu let out a sigh of relief when he said this. His mother wasn't scary. Could it be that she was nervous about meeting her future mother-in-law? Who would have thought that the aloof campus belle Bai Susu would be nervous about meeting her mother-in-law? But still, he had no idea how late it would be before she arrived. Thinking this, Yifan called his best friend and roommate to ask him to bring his blanket to the hospital and to buy a few towels, basins, and other toiletries on his way. Soon, Zhao Xiaotian arrived. But when he heard the number of Yifan's ward and stood at the door, he was immediately dumbstruck. What did he see? He actually saw the cool campus belle Bai Susu lying on the hospital bed, while Yifan sat gently looking at her. And there, on the side of the bed, were 4 little, human-shaped, indistinct creatures. They must be children, right? What was going on? How did children suddenly come into and not just one child, 4 children? Goodness gracious. Truly, goodness gracious. It was over, his perfect goddess Bai Susu was just like that taken by Yifan, and to top it off, they had children. Xiaotian, you're here. Yifan turned around only when he noticed Bai Susu signaling him with her eyes, and saw Zhao Xiaotian standing at the door, looking stunned. That's right, his best buddy was none other than Zhao Xiaotian, who was also his roommate. I really want to beat you to death. When did you start moving in on her? How did my goddess become like this at your hands? So much for years of brotherhood, this is how you treat me. Zhao Xiaotian stared at Yifan, teeth clenched in anger. Good grief. Truly, good grief. He couldn't believe it was real. The scene before him was quite the shock. Xiaotian, calm down first, let me explain slowly to you, Yifan said, trying to soothe Zhao Xiaotian, while feeling like crying on the inside. He knew that Zhao Xiaotian also had a crush on the school beauty. When school beauty Bai Susu took a leave of absence, this guy had even held on to him and cried his eyes out. Now, faced with this situation, it was normal for him to be unable to accept it. Even Yifan himself had been shocked and disbelieving when he first found out. He took the things from the other guy and placed them on the other empty bed before pulling Zhao Xiaotian to sit down on it. You have to give me a reasonable explanation today, Zhao Xiaotian said as he looked at the pale face of the girl he idolized, nearly bursting into tears. Alas, he was too late, his perfect goddess had been turned into someone else's wife by a buddy. Look at that. Is this something a person should do? Actually, it all started that night. Yifan began explaining in a low voice to Zhao Xiaotian, and after half an hour, Zhao Xiaotian still looked like he wanted to strangle Yifan. This guy had made his goddess suffer so much, he really was a beast. Goddess, no, sister-in-law, no, that's not right, by the school beauty, if this beast ever treats you badly in the future, tell me, and I'll definitely help you beat him up. I will always stand by your side, Zhao Xiaotian said, looking at Bai Susu with a face full of pity. To think that the school beauty had become someone's wife, it was heartbreaking no matter how he looked at it. And you call yourself my brother, Yifan rolled his eyes, but didn't take it to heart. As for Bai Susu, she just nodded at Zhao Xiaotian without saying a word. What's wrong with you, brother? Look at what you did, I'm embarrassed for you. By the way, you broke up with Xiao Lily, right? The whole school is talking about it. Zhao Xiaotian was gleefully speaking when he realized he might have misspoken. He sneaked a glance at Bai Susu and, seeing no expression of displeasure, he sighed with relief. Thank goodness, he hadn't upset the school beauty. It's okay, speak your mind, your sister-in-law is generous and doesn't mind, Yi Fan said, noticing Zhao Xiaoyan's glance and then gave a reassuring smile to Bai Susu. Indeed, wasn't that the case? There was really no romance between them. Of course, that was because Bai Susu had no feelings for him. Their relationship was entirely due to a misunderstanding. It was the misunderstanding that had caused their paths to cross. However, Yi Fan felt quite thankful for this misunderstanding. Bai Susu trembled slightly upon hearing this, ignoring the thick-skinned young man. At novel at. The whole school knows about your drama now, they saw and recorded you arguing with Xiao Lily. It's all over the school forum, scholarly hunk publicly berates a gold digger, and other things like poor boy dumped by gold-digging girl. But brother, I saw the video of you scolding Xiao Lily, you're a real man. I've long said Xiao Lily wasn't any good for you, and now you know, right? Zhao Xiaotian said in an I told you so manner, looking at Yi Fan. And speak of the devil, Xiao Lily's reputation was truly ruined. At school, her name was now synonymous with disgrace. Yi Fan felt that he didn't care about those things anymore. After all, he now had a wife and children, what was there to fear? He thought that after the breakup, he had become a real winner in life. Not only had he become a father, but he also had 4 precious daughters, and he was overjoyed. Hee, as they say, a daughter is her dad's little lover, which is absolutely true. Watching them, Yi Fan adored them immensely. Wow. At that moment, the baby suddenly felt hungry, puckered her tiny mouth, and started to cry loudly. One after another, they all began to cry. The 4 babies let out earth-shattering wails as they cried. The 3 adults were startled, and they exchanged glances. You must be hungry, I don't have breast milk yet, so I can only mix formula, there is formula and bottles in the bag, Yi Fan go mix some, remember to use warm water, and 2 scoops of powder should be enough, don't make it too strong, Bai Susu instructed Yi Fan as she looked at him. These were all things she had learned from watching many baby care videos and reading books before giving birth. She knew she had to learn a lot since she was a new mom, otherwise, she wouldn't know what to do when the time came. Okay, Xiaotian, help me out, let's do this together, he said, and the 2 of them took bottles and formula to mix. Bai Susu watched the baby beside her, gently patting and soothing with "Don't cry, baby, don't cry, you'll be able to eat soon." When Yi Fan and Zhao Xiaotian came in, they saw this scene before them, the cool and aloof beauty of the school transformed, radiating with the tenderness of a loving mother. For a moment, it was hard for anyone to look away. Yi Fan approached Bai Susu, put down the bottle he was holding, and picked up one of the infants. Be careful, it's hot. Have you tested the temperature? Bai Susu asked. After all, newborns are very fragile and can easily be burnt. I tested it, I cooled it down with some cold water, Yi Fan replied, squeezing the bottle against the back of his own hand to ensure the temperature was right and wouldn't burn the child. That's good then, Bai Susu was relieved. The 3 of them feeding 4 children was quite hectic, but luckily, they managed to satisfy the little ones. At novel at. Congratulations, host, on completing the feeding task. You have been rewarded with 200,000, the amount has been deposited. Please check it. Yi Fan, hearing the system's voice, brightened. Indeed, this dad system was unbeatable. Taking good care of the children and raising them could indeed earn some substantial rewards. From now on, there was no need to worry about money when raising children. These babies are really cute, have you thought of names yet? This is a blessing to have quadruplets, exclaimed Zhao Xiaotian joyfully as he held an infant. He couldn't believe that just yesterday, his good buddy was still playing video games with him, and in the blink of an eye, he became the father of 4 babies and now had such a beautiful school beauty as his wife. He truly was at the pinnacle of life. Ah, when would he himself reach such a stage? We haven't thought of names yet, but since Yifan is the father, naturally they will have his surname. Bai Susu had thought about this issue for a long time. If the children took her surname, they would inevitably ask who and where their father was, and they might suffer ridicule at school. Hence, it's better for them to take Yifan's surname. Moreover, he is their father and should naturally provide them with the fatherly love they deserved. To deprive them of this would hugely impact and harm various aspects of their lives. The children belonged to both of them, and thus both needed to take responsibility. As for her relationship with Yifan, that was a matter between the two of them and not something to involve the children in. But really, naming is such a tough task. Bai Susu turned her head, looking at Yifan for suggestions. Well, let's give the child's name some more thought. After all, a name is important as it lasts a lifetime. Besides, I can't think of a full name right now on the spot, Yifan said with an embarrassed smile. I mean, it's not like the usual 1 or 2 kids that are easy to name. We're talking about quadruplets here. All that matters is that we settle on a name before we leave the hospital. Okay, let's spend the next few days thinking about it, Bai Susu agreed with Yifan. A name indeed needs to be carefully chosen. Soon enough, the little ones were fed and promptly started sleeping soundly again. You guys go have something to eat. There's nothing much to do now, Bai Susu told the two of them. Right, the kids are asleep now, so there's nothing pressing. It's a good time to grab a meal. Sure, what do you feel like eating? I'll bring something back for you, Yifan said tenderly to Bai Susu. Just look at her, she's become so much more haggard these past few days, her complexion so pale. I really need to hurry up and find a place to live, so I can take good care of Bai Susu and help her recuperate. As for school, why bother with that anymore? Just take a leave of absence. Right now, my child and wife are the most important things. Academic matters and the like are trivial by comparison, and I don't want to fuss over them anymore. Once my mom arrives to help out for a few days, I need to start handling these things. These matters can't wait, I must take care of them before we leave the hospital. Anything is fine. Just bring back whatever you think is good, thank you, Bai Susu said indifferently since she didn't have much appetite. Alright then, Yifan felt a bit of heartache at her thanks, but didn't say anything more. Afterward, he went out to eat with Zhao Xiaotian. Dude, why did the school beauty thank you just now? You guys even have a child together, why keep things so formal? At this moment, Zhao Xiaotian couldn't help but ask curiously. He had been wanting to ask earlier already. But, he had distinctly felt that the atmosphere was a bit off, so he didn't speak up. You know what happened, it was an accident. Of course, I will work hard to earn Bai Susu's acceptance, Yifan said with a look of determination in his eyes. He would definitely make it happen. His woman could only be Yifan's. Bro, I support you. Win over Bai Susu, so she'll willingly become my sister-in-law, Zhao Xiaotian encouraged, patting Yifan's shoulder. His buddy could definitely do it. I mean, if we're talking about looks or height, my buddy has got it all. It's just the family background that's a bit lacking, but that can change. Winning over the school beauty is still possible. Don't worry, I'll do my best, Yifan said with a smile. No matter what, for his own sake or for the kids, he would go the extra mile. In the future, he wanted to live a good life with Bai Susu and their precious daughters. For the names, he had them: Ice, Pure, Jade, Clean. The 4 precious daughters, named in order, would be called Yi Bing, Yi Qing, Yi Yu, Yi Jia. The names were just perfect. After eating, Zhao Xiaotian went to school, and Yifan bought some food alone and returned to the hospital. When he got back to the hospital, the 4 little babies were already sleeping soundly, and Bai Susu was also asleep, her stunningly beautiful face filled with peace. For the first time, seeing Bai Susu with such a sleeping expression, the sleeping her gave off the feeling of a sleeping beauty. You're back. Bai Susu opened her eyes and saw Yifan sitting beside the hospital bed, looking at her, his gentle demeanor slightly making her dazzled. Yeah, eat up. I brought you some food, and also pig's trotter soup. I heard it can help with lactation, Yifan said with a bit of embarrassment. Although they had been together once, it was just an accident. Talking about such topics was bound to be a bit embarrassing. Thank you. Bai Susu's face turned red, but she quickly regained her composure. It's better for the child to be breastfed, as it helps them become healthier and have much stronger immunity. It's nothing, come on, eat. Yifan opened the package and placed it on the cabinet next to the hospital bed. He then helped Bai Susu to sit up, leaning her against the bed and putting a pillow behind her waist to make her a bit more comfortable. Bai Susu looked at the handsome young man before her, her eyes filled with complexity. Their relationship seemed to be growing closer. Of course, the child was like a fuse between them, intertwining their fates together. But he seemed different from what she had heard about before. She hadn't expected him to be so considerate. Bai Susu gave Yifan a deep look before bowing her head to eat. Yifan looked at the 4 little ones in the baby crib next to him, each one so adorable, with their tiny faces, tiny hands, and tiny bodies, truly soft and squishy. Even now, he felt like he was dreaming. But he felt quite happy in the present. Master, that guy has called again. Yifan's phone rang at that moment. Bai Susu also paused, looking at Yifan beside her, her face becoming a bit tense. At novel been at. Could it be that Mother Yi had arrived? It should be about time. She felt nervous and a little at a loss. As for why she felt this way, even Bai Susu herself didn't understand. It's my mother, she should have arrived. Yifan took out his phone, saw that it was so, turned to look at the somewhat stiff Bai Susu, and said. Then go ahead and answer, Bai Susu said. The inevitable has to be faced, so there's no escaping it. Yifan picked up the call only to hear his mother say that she had arrived at the entrance of the hospital. Yifan glanced at Bai Susu and then left the ward. Bai Susu watched Yifan's retreating back, lost in thought. She didn't know how she should face Mother Yi. But with things having come this far, not meeting her was impossible. She could only take it one step at a time. On his side, as soon as Yifan came out, when he reached the hospital entrance, he saw Mother Yi pacing back and forth anxiously. Mum, Yifan called out to Mother Yi and hurried over to her. Son, tell me, did you mess with some young lady, and she's bearing a child for you? We can't bully her, nor can we let her down. I've taught you since you were young not to bully girls, but if you did, you must take responsibility. Mother Yi, upon seeing Yifan, immediately started saying anxiously. This child really worried her to death. She was truly frantic. On the way in the car, she thought of all kinds of bad things. If her son had truly wronged that girl, and if compensation was demanded, then of course they would have to compensate. Isn't everyone's child a precious treasure? So, she could understand the heart of a mother. Mom, you're wondering what it's about, but it's pretty much the same. Anyway, now that you're here, let's go in and you'll understand everything. Yifan didn't know how to explain. These few sentences couldn't be made clear anyway. Besides, his mother had been through it all before, so perhaps she would understand once she saw for herself. Maybe she wouldn't need any explanations from him at all. At least, that's what Yifan believed. You naughty boy, you really make me worry myself to death. Let's go see the girl you've troubled. Mother Yi shook her head helplessly. There was no helping it, she only had this one son and of course, she had to help him handle this matter. After all, her son was her treasure. Whatever the issue, of course, it was up to her, his mother, to take care of it. Mom, we're going in now. Try to keep your voice down. We can't disturb others, Yifan cautioned her again. I know, don't worry, Mother Yi nodded. She felt that her son was speaking this way, probably because he was afraid of scaring the girl, so she readily agreed. Just keeping her voice down, right? What's so difficult about that? And, Mom, you mustn't get too excited later, you have to stay calm. Yifan said as he pulled his mother inside, admonishing her once more. He was afraid that his mother wouldn't be able to handle the surprise later on. After all, when he had found out, he had been so excited that he almost lost his own. I know, what haven't I seen in this world? I've eaten more salt than you've eaten rice. Don't worry, I've been through enough to not embarrass you, Mother Yi rolled her eyes. This child was really going a bit too far. To actually teach his own mother how to behave. Mother Yi believed that the girl's parents were also waiting for her arrival to resolve this matter. Fine, Mom, I'll stop talking, okay? Yi Fan felt a little aggrieved. Why was his mother being so fierce? If she were to get fierce with Bai Susu later, he would definitely have to step in. Let's go. The two made their way to the hospital corridor, with Mother Yi quietly following behind her son, not saying a word. She knew that one must maintain silence inside a hospital. What's more, it was night already, and some patients needed to rest. Mom, this is the room. Remember, you have to stay calm. Yi Fan reminded her once more as he stood in front of his mother. He was really a bit worried. Enough already, I know, you've said it several times, nagging like a woman. Mother Yi was getting a bit angry. Her son was getting annoying. Always hemming and hawing, nagging like a woman. He wasn't like this before. Today was indeed strange. Could it be that he got upset by that girl's family? Very likely. She didn't expect that her well-behaved son could be riled up like this by someone else. No, she had to regain her dignity. Without paying any more attention to her son, Mother Yi strode towards the sick room and pushed the door open. Mother Yi pushed open the door of the hospital room and saw a stunning young lady sitting against the hospital bed, and next to her, there were 4 little ones in a baby crib. She froze for 2 seconds, then saw another scene, a middle-aged woman holding a baby and feeding it on the bed. What? Sorry, wrong room, Mother Yi said with an embarrassed smile and backed out. Yi Fan had just realized what happened when he saw his mom come back out. Why did she come back out? Son, we went into the wrong room. Mother Yi looked at her son, quite helpless. Her own son couldn't even handle such a small matter properly. Mistaking the room, such an incident actually happened. Sooner or later, it will be the death of her. Inside were 2 mothers, especially that beautiful girl, who had actually given birth to quadruplets, truly amazing. So envious. Then looking at her own son, really disappointing. Good for nothing at all, except never leaving leftovers when eating. After all, a woman who has given birth needs to rest well, shouldn't be disturbed. Moreover, startling the children and making them cry would be very troublesome. She knew how difficult it was for a new mom to soothe a child to sleep. Mother Yi had deep experience in this regard. Really? I don't think so. Yi Fan still looked bewildered and glanced at the room number. It's correct. Mom, it's not wrong, we didn't go into the wrong room, let's go, Yi Fan said, pulling Mother Yi towards the room in front of them. We went into the wrong room, there are 2 mothers inside, why won't you believe it? Mother Yi struggled, only to discover for the first time how strong her son was. Goodness, she actually couldn't outmuscle her son. Susu, I'm back, this is my mother, Yi Fan said as he let go of his mom's hand, walked over to the bedside, speaking gently, and also glanced at the little ones. They are sleeping so sweetly. Son, can you tell your mom what exactly is going on here? Mother Ye's face was a picture of confusion. What exactly is the situation? Could someone explain it to her? She was even starting to have wild thoughts, wasn't she? How awful. Look at how happy those 2 are, no matter how she sees it, she feels scared. Auntie, hello, my name is Bai Susu. Bai Susu's face showed a bit of awkwardness in front of Mother Yi, who was in her 40s. Mother Yi maintained herself quite well and looked young for her age. This was Yi Fan's mother, she seemed quite approachable. Hello, I'm Yi Fan's mother. Mother Yi nodded her head and moved closer to the bed, but she didn't dare to think or say anything rash. At that moment, she was more nervous than on her wedding night. Auntie, Yi Fan mentioned you before, Bai Susu nodded and spoke very demurely. This brat, what has he said about me? Who knows, he might have been badmouthing me, Mother Yi glared at her son with disdain. She knew her son's character too well. Mom, Yi Fan called out helplessly. Couldn't his mother give him some face? Why be like this? Alright, Susu, where is the father of the children? Giving birth to 4 babies is very tiring to look after by yourself. Of course, it's a great blessing, Mother Yi said, then looked at the little baby, her eyes filled with affection. Ah, who knows when she would be able to hold her own grandchildren. This problematic Sun Yifan wasn't striving enough, nor had he mentioned having a girlfriend, let alone the prospect of grandsons or granddaughters. Maybe she would have to wait until she could hardly walk before she would see them. Mother Yi instinctively thought that this girl must be Yifan's friend, his classmate, perhaps. She came here simply to show concern, to greet someone, and didn't think much deeper about it. Quadruplets, all girls, Yifan said with a smile, his eyes brimming with joy. Just now, he had clearly seen the fondness in his own mother's eyes. That's truly a blessing, Mother Yi said enviously. To have a daughter, how blissful that is. A daughter is like a little padded jacket for her mother. No, he had to encourage his own son to try harder. Sooner rather than later, to let herself and his father hold granddaughters and grandsons. Of course, we all have our blessings, Yifan said with a smile. He was fortunate, and so was his mother. Mother Yi, a bit confused by these words but not asking, just listened. At novel been at. Where had the child's father gone to, why hadn't she seen him? Where has the child's father gone, why hasn't he come back yet? Mother Yi asked without thinking much, just looking at the two of them. As a result, as soon as she asked this question, Yifan and Bai Susu looked at each other, both seeing embarrassment in the other's eyes. A strange atmosphere began to spread around them. At this time, watching the two of them looking embarrassed, Mother Yi couldn't help but let her mind run wild. She hadn't even met the elders of both sides, could it be that this girl was someone to be pitied? Thinking of this, Mother Yi's heart went out to this beautiful girl even more. She had heard many tales of such things, like college girls being abandoned, giving birth in hospitals, or the men running away. Mom, actually, this child is your granddaughter, Bai Susu is my girlfriend, and I'm the father of the child, Yifan said, glancing at Bai Susu, taking her hand, and speaking to his mother. No matter what, the child was born, and it was impossible for her not to be his girlfriend, not just a girlfriend, but in the future, a wife as well. Underscore? What? Mother Yi felt like she must have heard wrong. What did you say? This is your child, you're a father now. Mother Yi asked, shocked, grasping her son's collar. Was she experiencing auditory hallucinations? Could it be true? At this moment, Mother Yi was beyond shocked. Mom, it's true. The children Bai Susu gave birth to are mine. They were born today. I called you here to help out for a few days until the confinement nanny arrives, Yifan explained to his mother. His collar was somewhat uncomfortable being gripped by his mother but, oh well, no problem. He understood his mother's shock and disbelief, after all, he had reacted the same when it first happened. Son, you're not lying to me, right? Is this really true? Mother Yi still found it hard to believe. How had her son become a parent all of a sudden? Before, her son hadn't even had a girlfriend, and now he was the father of 4 children. I'm not lying to you, it's true, if you don't believe it, ask Susu, Yifan said, turning his head to look at Bai Susu. He knew it would be like this. Auntie, what Yifan said is true. It's a complicated story, but I am absolutely certain that the child is his, Bai Susu said firmly to Mother Yi. That gaze made Mother Yi feel a pang of heartache. Oh, what a fine girl. And to think, she was really taken by her own son. Child, Auntie believes you, I do. I never expected to have granddaughters, how wonderful, Mother Yi immediately smiled. Once she confirmed it, she was ecstatic. So it turns out, her son had called her to the hospital to see the babies, to be a grandmother. Mother Yi looked at the child, her face brimming with smiles. She had never expected that her son would truly make something of himself. In an instant, he had both a wife and children, and not just any children, but 4 precious daughters in one birth. If Father Yi knew about this, he would certainly be even happier. She really wanted to tell Father Yi right now. But in the end, Mother Yi still held back. After all, that guy always scowled at his son whenever he saw him, so she decided not to tell him just yet. Anyway, she was here to help take care of things, so why go back to the countryside? Looking after the old man wasn't as good as caring for her dear daughter-in-law and her precious granddaughters. She hadn't expected her future daughter-in-law to be so capable, giving birth to 4 at once. Now, she wondered if the village women would still dare to laugh at her. Yi Fan saw his mother so happy, and he also breathed a sigh of relief. Of course, Bai Susu, seeing Mother Ye's love for the children, also felt a bit more relaxed. Historically, the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship has always been sensitive. But the feeling Mother Yi gave her was still very good. In the end, Yi Fan found a nurse and moved into a private hospital room. After all, his family was rather large. It was inconvenient to share a room with others and might disturb them, so having a private room was better. Of course, with no outsiders around, they could speak without such restraint. "Child, if my Yi Fan isn't good to you, tell me. I'll straighten him out and make sure he behaves," Mother Yi said joyfully, holding Bai Susu's small hand.